Hey guys, Sunstreaker Wozza here, and welcome to mine and Tex's video on every 5-star rating. We did this in 2023 and we're back in 2024 to do it again. So big thank you to Tex again for joining me.
Yeah, good to have you be again doing this with you. It's been a while.
Yeah, cool. So let's just jump in straight into batch one. So we obviously rated, as you can see, Hot Rod Nemesis as must-haves, Sailbolt, Thundercracker, Nor as good bots, Sunstreaker and Swindle as not great, and we got Grimlock and Razorclaw as awful. So, then which do you think have moved? Which have improved? What do you think?
I think the only one that's going to sort of change there is Grimlock. You know, we got him changed to Warrior class, which is a very simple move, and to be honest, he should have been a Warrior from the start. Look, I'm moving him into good, um, just because he's a Warrior, and as you know, all the Warriors with the shield, get that FFD out of the way, pretty unkillable. So decent range.
Do you not feel like Nor might deserve a bit of a move down? I know you had him in your war team, and I've seen him less and less in outposts, less and less in wars. I've seen Silverbolt still being used for the Thunder drops. Maybe not so much now since the bit of a nerf, but
No, I get it. I see where you sort of you're looking at Nor, and for sure, I think we could move him down to situational. You're right. Like, there's less and less outpost usage, basically because of the better bots that are now seen. Right, we have a more advanced bots, but still a killer. It's just a great bot. Super strong. Minions are good. Good G1. Just yeah, a bit more situational these days.
and you still think Hot Rod Nemesis must-haves?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I've dropped a medic for my war team. He's replaced him. He's on defense now. So, again, I'm not going to run mediocre bots.
Is that just a outpost thing, or I think still viable in wars as well?
Oh, I think wars hands down. I think the better you manage an FFD, the more hot rod becomes viable.
Well, that changes the score of that batch up to 18. So that batch has actually improved since last time. Then we're going to batch two. So we've got Shockwave and Wheeljack as good bots. Then we've got Windblade and Dive Bomb as not great, along with Drift and Barricade. Then we've got Optimus and Megatron as awful, along with Skyburst and Onslaught. Which of any of them you think have improved? Obviously, Windblade and Dive Bomb got their G1. Has it been enough to push them up? Has Kunai been enough to push Wheeljack up, maybe?
I don't not for Windblade personally. Like, core is okay. And look, Drift is in the process of doing whatever he's getting done to him, but we don't have any sort of insight yet as to how good he can be, and it's even hard to sort of see. Like, they'll have to change a lot to make him even move from that spot in my view.
Yeah. I feel like Optimus Megatron could be moved up maybe to situational, maybe to not great rather than awful. I think that people are rushing a bit more now, but not enough to warrant them being good bots.
No, I mean, it's hard because I think it's just an iconic. People like those iconic bots for more lore. Oh, it's a good power number. It's like, I don't care about power number. I care about how the bot is used in the game. And a lot of people just who struggle with pathing again, stray with bots, they just use him to bring him back down. But that's not a bot issue. That's the user of the team not pathing correctly. So if you're not good with pathing, sure, he's going to shoot up, but nah, look, it's even the same with Wheeljack, having the personalized combat hold that situation. That's not moving him off the, up or down. It's a good healer and a speed up, so I think it's decent still.
Yeah, I've used Optimus a few bases to rush. That's why I see situational, but you're literally talking. Let's be honest, if you're doing that, it's usually because it's a bit of bad base design, not because it's a good viable option. But then people do design bases to stop that because it is such a crazy good tactic if you can pull it off. But I don't know. I don't think if you left it in awful, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't be like, oh, it needs to be moved up. It's yeah, we can leave it where it is. But yeah, it's definitely not great. It's definitely not great. Definitely. But
No, and I, well, and I think just lastly is that people still have that fear of it not working at all. An ability that, you know,
Yeah, that's what sticks in my mind. That's why I'm still thinking awful because of it not really working as it should. So maybe it is where it should be. So yeah. So no change for batch two. Batch three. So we've got Springer and Astral Train as must-haves. Firefly and Blastoff as situational. Jazz and Mixmaster is not great. Then we split Galvatron and Ultra Magnus because obviously Galvatron is better than Ultra Magnus, so we put Galvatron as not great, but Ultra Magnus is awful, and then Cheetah and Black Arachnia as awful. So looking at it personally, I think a lot of their bots need to move down. I think Firefly and Blastoff are not as good as not even situational now. I think they need to be moved down to maybe awful. I think even
yeah.
Springer and Astro Train should be moved down to situational, maybe good bots. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, well, it's hard. Like I can agree with the general consumption, but obviously because I use Springer, it's just war, right? Like it's for those who just don't want to run a full medic. So that's just a play style approach, right? Like the bot is good. Now it probably isn't must have when we want to go for a simple. Should I get that? I mean, yeah, I mean, it's good, but that's play style chase, not necessarily is the bot epic. So yeah, I could see you moving Springer down to good, and the
Mm.
others, I mean, it's just not great.
Well, I suppose you could use Firefly in some instances, or Blast Off, but I put it not great. I don't think they're awful, but they're not great. Let's be honest.
No, I mean people will run the Shattered Glass Jetfire as their main jet generally.
And so that means that batch three moves down to 10.5. The point 0.5 obviously because Galvatron and Ultra Magnus are split between not great and awful. So a downgrade for that batch. So on to batch four, which was obviously at the time was the best batch in the game for quite a while. So we got Blaster and Soundwave as must-haves, Elita and Lugnut, Ratchet and Hook as good bots, Sludge and Strax as situational, and Prowl and Brawl as not great. So what are you thinking? Again, I'm thinking a lot of these need to move down.
Yeah, I mean it's sad to sort of see like such a decline, over a year. But um, I don't know. Do they not enjoy the minions anymore? Are they not working the way that they used to, or we just have people just move their vision to more futuristic batch bots these days? So is it, I'd love to see a usage number on some of these too. Like not to, it sort of just confirms some of the stuff that you feel when you come across other teams and talk to your teammates. Hey, what are you using? What's good? What's not?
I feel it's because the Warrior HP has literally sort of killed special bots really, and a lot of these special bots. That's why we sort of see them moving down. But are we saying Sludge and Strax is down to awful? Do you think?
I mean, just it's not great. That the game doesn't call for destroying of walls and honeycombs and time traps because there is no time issues. Is the game funneling a certain play design and in turn has changed the way that we really change up our teams? Like 18 months now or even longer, I've had the same 8 bots.
So we think Elita and
Yeah,
Lugnut down to not great,
situation.
situational,
Well,
situational.
look, I think people, depending on how they like to use their healers, I think you can keep the healers always in that good bots because they function the way that they should. I would like to see a lot more sit in the good range than obviously 3 and below. That means people have a healthy selection and people are using them, versus just copycat, 4 or 5 people.
Hmm.
I'd like to see that variety come back, but I also don't blame the user base that if the game doesn't call for change, why am I changing?
With that said, Blaster and Soundwave, good bot,
Good.
situational, good
Look,
still.
I think Blaster is still a good bot because just from a stat perspective, functions well, both offense, defense options, right? Just not used. So,
Hmm.
I see a decline in the must-have bots, I think.
Hmm. And so that means a decline also for batch 4 down to 15 points out of a possible 25. And we mentioned obviously bots that have moved down from the must have, but then we start obviously with Warpath and Skull Smasher. I think we could both agree that that definitely needs to be moved up to must have.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just makes life easy, and it's I think people like to look at our ratings and go, look, what's must have. If these guys are using it, there's a reason.
And then again, I think a lot of these are going to maybe move down a bit. Rodimus and Motormaster and Snarl and Hunger down to awful.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I mean, I joked in testing. I go, you know what? Like, I would love to use Rodimus, right? I really
Same.
would. But for me, it's about that combat selection. People are after control. When you don't control a bot's pathing or can't influence it very much without having to use its ability, it becomes a liability. And the more liabilities you have, things go wrong fast. His ability is great, but he gets into trouble from a pathing perspective. So, what does that do? That means not used, not desired, and just a waste of space.
So what do we think around Percy and Bombshell, RC and Nightbird?
Dropping them, just drop them, mate, because we just don't see them, don't use them. Percy's G1 is great. Um, I would put more him in a situational aspect. A lot more people choose Rook over RC, so I think she becomes a not great anymore because of the stunning. Like her SA11 is just not effective anymore, right? We have that a lot of warriors now who are anti-stun. I think this is where we have a more truer rating these days.
So with that being said, batch 5 is now at 12 points. And that is it for part 1, guys. So we want to catch part 2 and part 3, where me and Tex will be finishing this list off. Then watch out soon. If you are a member, it'll be available to you straight away. So consider becoming a member, guys. But thanks, Tex, for joining us for part 1. We'll be back soon for part 2, and we'll see you soon, guys.
See you guys.